Hey guys, so today we are going to talk about the paragraph. So I know most of you might be scared now, oh my god, paragraph and writing and this sounds scary. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you a few tricks that will make it easier for you guys to write a paragraph. We are going to use these points here and we can use these pointers that we have here to write any effective, successful paragraph. So let's look at the first point here, which is indent or skip a line. So what is an indent? Well, these are lines of a book. So when we have to start a paragraph or when we start a paragraph, we start from here as long and so on and so forth. So this space that we leave before starting the paragraph, this is an indent. And what is skip a line? So we have two options. Either we leave the indent or we skip a line. So again, these are lines of a book. And if we have to start a paragraph by skipping a line, so we start a paragraph here along and so on. And when we have to start a second paragraph, we leave this line and we start here. So we have two options, either leave the indent and do not skip the line, or do not leave the indent and skip the line when we start the next para. So these are our two options and just keep these things in mind. So let's look at the second point, which is one central idea, which is the thesis statement. Now thesis may seem like a big word to you, but what it is really is, the central idea of the paragraph, and that is how you are supposed to start a paragraph, with the thesis statement. Now a thesis statement may not be something specific, it can be or it should be general. So we'll look at a paragraph later during this class, so you all will get a better idea of how a thesis statement should look like. But your main takeaway from this point should be that every paragraph should have one central idea, that is one thesis statement, and everything else that is there in the paragraph should connect to the main idea or the thesis statement of the paragraph. So again, our next point is all other ideas directly related to the main idea, that is the thesis statement. And I just told you that everything else in the paragraph should relate to the central idea or the thesis statement. So what should be a length of a paragraph? Well, technically, the length of a paragraph can be just one line or just one sentence. But ideally, if you ask me, a paragraph should be from anywhere to 3 to 5 lines. This is the ideal length, but it can be longer or shorter depending on the topic that you're writing about. So our next point is details, and details are very important. So I've written reasons and examples here. First, let's look at reasons. So it's very important for us, if you're writing a paragraph, for us to give reasons to the reader to read it, and also reasons to make him understand why the central idea or why the thesis statement is so important. Because without reasons, without examples, your paragraph won't be engaging enough for the reader. So we have to give the whys. We have to answer the whys here when we talk about the reason. And it's very important to give examples, because when we give examples, we are validating the central idea of the paragraph. Well, the next important thing is flow bridges. What are flow bridges? Well, bridges in general, they connect things. So flow bridges are nothing but are connecting or linking words. So words like although, because, so far, moreover, all these words are connecting words because they connect the next statement or the statement we are writing about to the previous one. So connecting words are very important because they create a flow in your paragraph. And what are key terms? So for example, if you are writing a paragraph about parents, for example, this is just an example here. So if you are writing a paragraph about parents, do not keep on repeating the key terms. So don't say parents, 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 parents. Instead of parents, you all can use mom and dad. You all can use father and mother. but you can use different words like that. Parents, mom, dad. So don't keep on repeating the key terms because that's never good. That makes the paragraph pretty monotonous. So what I've done for you now is that I have written a paragraph for you here. Now this may seem like a long paragraph, but it's not really. So we'll read it together first, and then we'll connect all these rules to this paragraph over here. So I'll just start reading it. Great changes require a powerful hand to guide them and push them forward. Governments have the power and influence of the law to support them. Moreover, they have access to means with which to enforce the law and punish offenders. Individuals and corporations that pollute air and water will not stop it as long as they profit from this and do not fear consequences. A steel producer, for instance, will not cease dumping waste in a nearby river if it does not affect its bottom line. Taxing this company, on the other hand, might make it change its way of doing business. Yet it is this very question of cause that limits anyone but the government to act against it. So this paragraph is about the government taking some steps or measures against individuals or corporations that pollute the environment. So let's take a look at this paragraph here and connect this paragraph to our points here. So great changes require a powerful hand to guide them and push them forward. Governments have the power and influence of the law to support them. So this first part here, first, great changes require a powerful hand to guide them and push them forward. This is our thesis statement really. This is what we are trying to say, that for a change to happen, we need great power, and we connect it to government. So this is really our thesis, our central idea. The central idea of this passage is that great changes require great power and they can be provided by the government. So this is the central idea. If you look at this word moreover here, it is our flow bridge, that is our connecting word, our linking word. So moreover, they have, by they I mean the government, they have the access to the means with which to enforce the law and punish offenders. So here with this link, I have said that government have the access to the means to which enforce. What is the meaning of enforce? When I say enforce, that is to make something happen. Government can make it happen. They can enforce the law and punish the offenders. What are offenders? Offenders are people who break the law. So here, since I ended this particular sentence with offenders, I am starting the next sentence with individuals and corporations that pollute. So in a way, I have used a different term for offenders, that is individuals and corporations that pollute air and water. So we are talking about offenders. I just want you to see how I have connected offenders with individuals that pollute the environment. So here I am not repeating the keywords. I shouldn't say and punish offenders. Offenders that pollute air and water. So that's repetitive and that's not interesting. That's not how you all should write a paragraph. And most importantly, I forgot to tell you something earlier. Just notice how I have left the indent here before starting the paragraph. So moving on, where were we? We were at individuals and corporations. So this is our thesis statement. We have connected the next line of our paragraph to the thesis statement. And now we'll talk about the reasons and examples, this part here. So I'm talking a steel producer, for instance. I'm giving you an example here, which is very important. This makes it interesting. If you know the name of a specific company, you can do that, but it's never good to offend anyone. So I've just given you an example. A steel company, for instance, will not cease dumping waste in the nearby river as it does not affect, if it does not affect its bottom line. What is a bottom line? A bottom line is profit. I have used a different word for profit here. So if you all see, I have profit here and I have profit here, but I have used a different word, which is bottom line. So you all will have to learn about new words and improve your vocabulary so that you all don't use the same words again and again, which makes the paragraph monotonous. So taxing this company, on the other hand, might make it change its way of doing business. So here I'm giving you the solution to the problem, which is very important. I'm giving you the reason, what should we do here and why should we do it? Taxing this company might change the way. So I'm giving you a solution to the problem. How can we stop the offenders from polluting the environment? That is by taxing them, and that may change their way of doing business. So here I have given you an example and this is my reason, and I've also given you a solution. So that makes it interesting for the reader. I know there is a problem. I know that corporations are polluting our environment, but what should the government do? The government should tax them, and that is interesting for our reader because I'm giving you a solution to the problem that I have mentioned. Yet it is this very question of cost that limits anyone but the government to act against it. Now I have added this statement here for a specific purpose because although I have written a paragraph here, this may be an essay. Okay, and what is an essay? An essay includes at least 2 to 3 paragraphs. So this statement is connected to the next paragraph of my essay. So to the next paragraph. And what are these things? These are linking words, or these are flow bridges. As just keep in mind that the last part of your paragraph or the last sentence of your paragraph should be the connector or the flow bridge for the next paragraph or the first sentence of the next paragraph. So what have we looked at in this paragraph? We've looked that we should always start the paragraph with an indent, or if you're not leaving an indent, we should skip a line. A paragraph should always have a thesis statement, that is one central idea. It shouldn't be specific but a general one. You know, all the other ideas should connect to the thesis statement. All the other ideas should connect to the thesis statement, to the central idea of the passage. A paragraph can be of any length. There is no hard and set rule as to the length of the paragraph, and it is very important to give details. So how do we give details to the reader? We do that by giving him or her reasons as to why is it important? Why is it important for the government to take some action against the corporations who pollute the environment? And we also give examples which are very important as they create interest in the reader to further read the entire paragraph. And it is very important to use flow bridges. What are flow bridges? They are connecting words. So words like moreover, I'm just taking a look if there, for instance, yes, this is a connecting word too. So all these words, yet, moreover, these are connecting words, and it is very important to use them in order to create a flow in the paragraph. So these are the points that we should keep in mind while writing a paragraph, and I'm sure with the help of these points you all will be able to write a successful and effective, a great paragraph. Next I'm going to tell you about or teach you about a paragraph writing technique, which is peel. What is peel? Let's find out. So in this particular lesson we are going to learn about the peel. Yeah, like the banana peel. P-E-E-L. What is peel? Well, peel is a paragraph writing technique, and I assure you that if you all use this technique to write a paragraph, the end result, which means your paragraph, would be a great one. So what is peel? What does peel stand for? Peel, the P in peel stands for point. So here we are supposed to talk about the point that we are trying to make in our paragraph. So that is normally done with the thesis statement, wherein we mention the central idea of our paragraph, and that is what we do at the beginning of the paragraph. We point out to the thesis statement. E stands for explain or elaborate. So it is very important to elaborate or explain the point that we are trying to make in the thesis statement or in the paragraph. And how do we do that? We can also do that effectively with the help of evidence. That is by mentioning some facts or statistics that we may know about our thesis statement, or by also giving an example. And that is what the E stands for, evidence and example. Then what about L? What does L stand for? L stands for link. We are supposed to create a link between the various sentences in the paragraph by linking words like however, such as, moreover, so far, as a result of, all these are linking words that create a link or a bridge between two sentences. So all these points are very important. The first one is to talk about the point that we are trying to make in a paragraph. Second of all is, giving some explanation on that, elaborating on the point. Thirdly, the third E stands for evidence or example. If we give evidence or if we give an example, the reader always tends to get interested because it's interesting. He wants to know, he or she would want to know the facts. Or, if you give an example, it would always be engaging for the readers, which would make your paragraph a great one. And lastly, we have the linking words. Without the linking words, it would sound or it would look all over the place, and you do not want that, and therefore linking words are very important. And lastly, I just want to tell you that when it comes to paragraph writing, having a central idea to the paragraph is very important. For example, we talk about bananas in the first sentence. So if you are talking about oranges in the next statement, it may be okay, because we are still talking about fruits. So we talk about bananas, we talk about oranges. And then if we talk about apples, yes, we are deviating a little because we are talking about many things, but we are still talking about fruits, so it's fine. But what happens when we start, but in the next line, if we talk about monkeys in space, that's not okay. So what I mean by this is very important to stick to the point. Do not deviate from the point. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to write you a paragraph using the peel technique. So I've written you guys a paragraph on why we should use the peel technique. So P is point, E is elaborate or explain, the other E is for example or evidence, and the L is for link. Now let's look at this paragraph. The first sentence is, peel structure should be used for paragraphs because it facilitates clarity. And that is the point we are trying to make, right? We are trying to, that is the central idea or the thesis statement of our paragraph, because here in this particular paragraph, we want to point out why we should use the peel paragraph while writing paragraphs or essays for that matter. Let's look at the second part here. Teachers from Aristotle to Elerton have complained about the difficulty of students' essays. Many teachers have pointed out the lack of structure in essays that do not use peel paragraphs. Using the peel paragraph ensures that ideas are constructed in a logical order. So what have we done here? We have simply explained or elaborated on the usage of or why we should use the peel paragraph. So we have taken care of the second E here, which is elaborate. First, we pointed out the central idea, which is peel structure should be used while writing paragraphs. And in this part, the orange part, which is our second E, we have elaborated or explained why we should use the peel paragraph. Let's look at the pink part here. The effectiveness of using a peel approach has been demonstrated by research of Smith and Smith. Smith and Smith are a research company who have studied or who studied 500 student essays that did not use peel paragraphs and found that only 5 had logical order. All the other essays lost up to 20 to 100 marks for lack of clarity. So here we have given an example, we have provided evidence, and this will really interest the readers because we have spoken about the research of Smith and Smith firm, and they studied over 500 essays, and what did they find out? They found out that only 5 essays had logical structure or clarity because they did not use the peel paragraph technique. Let's look at the green part. Therefore, I want you all to pay attention to this word therefore, which is a linking word. Therefore, because of all this, it is clear that the peel approach should be used for essays in order to increase the quality of essays. So, the green part here has taken care of the L, which is linking. We have used the linking word therefore, and we should use linking words not only towards the conclusion or towards the last part of the essay, but throughout the paragraph, so that there is a flow, a fluidity to the paragraph. So we have used the peel technique to talk about or to write about the reason why we should use the peel structure while writing a paragraph. So we have taken care of pointing out the thesis or the central idea of the paragraph, which is here. Then we have explained why we should use the peel paragraph, and then we have provided evidence, and finally we have created a link with the word therefore, which tells us these all of these are our reasons why we should use the peel paragraph. And always keep one thing in mind. Your first statement or sentence should always be connected to the last one. So here we spoke about peel structure should be used in the paragraph because it facilitates clarity. In the last statement, we have said therefore it is clear that peel approach should be used. So the last statement here is connected to the first statement of the paragraph, and just keep in mind that both of them should be very powerful. So this was our peel paragraph writing technique, and I hope this was helpful, and I would recommend you guys to use this technique because it's easy to remember. Just 4 letters, P-E-E-L. Just think of the banana peel, and it is point, explain or elaborate. The other E stands for evidence or example, and lastly, the last one is for link. The L is for link, and by following this technique, there will always be a logical order to your paragraph, and your paragraphs will always be clear and full of clarity. So until next time guys, happy learning.